that if you're looking for a president to be elected in this country that will send that very clear message to Iran as to the seriousness of the American public to stop them from getting a nuclear weapon, there'd be no better candidate than me, because I have been on the trail of Iran and trying to advocate for stopping them getting a nuclear weapon for about 8 years now. I was the author of a bill back in 2008 that talked about sanctions on a nuclear program that our intelligence community said didn't exist, and had the President of the United States, President Bush, oppose me for 2 years, and by the way, so did Joe Biden on the floor of the Senate, and Barack Obama. I always say, if you want to know what foreign policy position to take, find out what Joe Biden's position is and take the opposite opinion.
I love that. See, I love Rick Santorum in presidential candidate mode, and who knows, maybe we'll get to see it again. Hey, why don't we ask him? Hello, Rick Santorum.
Hello, Steve Malzberg. How are you, my friend?
Good. Great to talk to you. So, so I love that. I mean, does that arouse the passion in you again? Like, hey, it's coming up again. The cycle's starting again.
Yeah, I didn't. There was a clip played. I didn't hear it.
Oh, so, no. Okay, it was.
No, it went like I thought you actually cut me off.
No, it was you at one of the debates on CNN, sitting next to Romney, talking about all you've done and how aware you are of the Iranian nuclear program, and how anytime Joe Biden is for something in foreign policy, everybody else should be against it. It was got a good laugh.
It's also true.
It's also true. All right, well, welcome back. And, of course, you know him, you love him, Rick Santorum, former senator from Pennsylvania and former presidential candidate and CEO of Echolite Studios. Now, you and our friend Joel Rosenberg, I assume your friend as well,
wrote, my friend.
Yes, wrote an op-ed piece and called The Lessons of History, Americans Fear a Second Holocaust If Iran Gets the Bomb. And it was a brilliant piece, true piece, and you got an unexpected response to that piece.
Remarkably, the Iranian government decided to respond, which was actually quite encouraging that they're paying attention. And it's sort of encouraging at the same time. That means they're also paying attention to what our feckless foreign policy is from the White House, and how much leeway they have to continue to stall them, to make them believe that somehow or another that they're serious about coming to some kind of withdrawal of in the nuclear program or the missile development program or their weaponization program, none of which they have slowed down as a result of this quote interim agreement. So It's encouraging to see that they're watching, and we were anxious to fire back and not just take a shot at them, but also look at the Obama administration, and again the fact that they're just creating an on-ramp for them right now to develop a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, and you know Waleed Faris, the Fox News contributor, terrorism expert, he has a great new book out. He sat with me here yesterday, and he said that Obama's plan, get this, was that the entire Middle East would kind of be divided. Half of it would be run and watched over by Iran, and half of it would be run and watched over by the Muslim Brotherhood. And I said, and he named the countries. I don't have them which column they all fall into. And I said, oh, by the way, where does that leave Israel?
I said, where does it leave Israel? Where does it leave Jordan?
Right.
Where does it leave? Where does it leave? Any of these states that are at least attempting to be working to be somewhat moderate, like Kuwait.
Jordan would be Muslim Brotherhood along with Egypt. He had the whole plan. He said this was Obama's plan, and that explains his whole foreign policy. It is insane.
It certainly explains it. I mean, if that is his intent, he's doing everything possible to make that happen. He's certainly allowing Iran, as I mentioned, the on-ramp. He's certainly allowing the Muslim Brotherhood. He supported them in Egypt. He has supported the attempts of these radical Islamists now in Syria. This is a policy that does not understand how threatening radical Islam is to our ally Israel most immediately, but also to the greater Middle East. Look at what's going to happen in Saudi Arabia. I mean, this discounts the idea that Saudi Arabia is going to sit back and allow Iran with a nuclear weapon and not try to get one themselves, and that what's so in Turkey. So,
yeah, John Kerry today scolded both Israel and the Palestinians, saying they say they want to continue. Neither party has said they have called it off, but we're not going to sit there indefinitely. He blames both Israel and the Palestinians equally for the mess that the talks are in, when, of course, they went so far as to try to bribe Israel with Jonathan Pollard, and then Abbas throws a monkey wrench into the whole thing, and I call Kerry the Palestinian spokesman. So Abbas spit in the face of the Palestinian spokesman by saying, I'm filling out applications to get UN recognition of statehood, when he knows that's going to blow up the talks completely. So, this administration is just reprehensible.
Well, again, it just shows weakness. I mean, you have the Secretary of State sort of being a scold, saying, shame on both of you, when he's not creating the atmosphere for decisions to be made. Decisions are made. Look, peace treaties are signed when one side knows that things are not going to go well if they don't sign it. And we have not created an atmosphere. I don't know if too many peace treaties are signed where both sides come at it equally and feel that they have nothing to lose if they don't sign it. Then there's no motivation. Someone has to be in a position of losing something, and we haven't created that dynamic in the Middle East, and I don't think that certainly this administration is not going to do that.
I want to let you hear something. Hillary Clinton, she was asked. She was at a women's forum, and in addition to talking about how partisanship is taking us backwards, as if she isn't Miss Partisan, she was asked about her role as Secretary of State. And she said, quote, she was very proud of the stabilization and the really solid leadership that the administration provided that allowed the U.S. to address problems in Ukraine and other global spots. She said, I think we really restored American leadership in the best sense. And I said, in response to that, you know what? We thought Jay Leno was unemployed. He's writing jokes for Hillary.
Yeah, that is, if it wasn't serious, it's delusional. I mean, that's the only way you can describe it. It's just completely delusional. I mean, it's like Barack Obama saying up and saying, you can keep your insurance if you want. I mean, knowing full well that that's not the case. But you know what? They're going to go out there and hope that the low information voter is just going to listen to what they say and not pay attention to the facts that America's prestige around the world is at an all-time low. That both with respect to our enemies and certainly with our allies. We don't trust America now to stand by anything we say. This is as deplorable a condition of America's presence around the world, and Hillary Clinton has a lion's share of the blame to take for.
And by the way, I don't know if you're aware of this. You probably are. The State Department's Inspector General released a report yesterday that over the last 6 years, $6 billion have gone missing from the State Department. Now, I'm not saying Hillary even knew about this, because after all, she didn't know about the request for security for Benghazi. She doesn't know about anything. And she can't be expected to know about anything as the head of the State Department and Secretary of State. But nonetheless, this would be a pretty huge story if John Kerry and Hillary Clinton weren't the last two Secretaries of State.
Well, it should be a huge story. And the amount of waste, the amount of mismanagement. That department is probably the worst run and the least helpful to the American public department in the government, and that is a very, very high bar to cross. I mean, there's a lot of really bad departments in the government right now that are not doing the job for the American public, but the State Department is singularly the worst. And now to see that not only do they do a bad job, but that they waste money, just shows you that they can do just about everything bad.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you about this report, Senator. The Senate Intelligence Committee voted to approve declassifying part of the secret report on the Bush-era interrogation tactics of terrorist suspects. And they voted in that regard to declassify it. Dianne Feinstein has said that this is against everything we stand for. This report's going to show what really took place. We've been lied to, etc. And it has to go through certain stages. You probably know what each stage is better than I do, obviously, before Obama, who has indicated he wants this out there, will put it out there. Now, the CIA is not going to be happy, and I don't think Americans should be happy, but our president's going to put out dirty laundry to make us look bad, whether it's true or not.
Again, what purpose does this serve other than to further discredit the United States or give our enemies a fodder to really create a dangerous situation for many of our men and women deployed in uniform all over the world. I mean, this is again putting politics above the national security interests of our country, putting it above our men and women in uniform, who are now going to potentially have to suffer consequences of this. For what purpose? What does it gain other than some political advantage that during a very bad election year for the president to try to besmirch Republicans and someone who's not even on the ballot, someone who hasn't been around for 6 years?
Yeah. All right. One more for you, Senator, and that is this whole tragedy at Fort Hood. There's efforts underway to get the right to carry for our men and women in uniform on their own bases. I mean, is it inconceivable to you that they're not allowed to carry weapons to protect themselves? You know, we're going to talk to one of the survivors of Fort Hood from '09 who was shot 7 times. And what he tells us is that he may not have stopped himself from being shot, but he would have sent Hassan to meet his virgins if he had a gun with him.
I think it's reprehensible that we don't allow our men and women in uniform, who are law-abiding, responsible people who we can trust with guns to protect us, that we don't entrust them with guns to protect themselves.
Yeah. All right. How's Echo Light doing?
We're doing great. We had a movie out the last couple of weeks, so I think it's on again tonight on the Hallmark movie channel. It's called The Redemption of Henry Myers. It's the Hallmark movie channel, not the Hallmark channel.
Okay.
And we're very excited. We've got some new films coming out this fall, and we'll be back to tell you about them.
All right, Rick, we'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thanks, Steve.
Take
Bye-bye
care.
now.
Rick Santorum, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope he runs again. He was great at CPAC, which I forgot to tell him. I wasn't there, but I watched from. He really rebutted directly, in my mind, Chris Christie, who said, "Hey, in order to govern, we got to be elected first." So basically, Rick said, "Here, a lot of people have taken to the podium before me and saying we have to lose in order to win," which I thought was a great way of rephrasing what Christie said, because. If you're Chris Christie, if you vote for Chris Christie and you're a conservative Republican, you're throwing away your values. You're giving half the store away, more than half the store away, in order to say a Republican won, but in fact, not a true Republican, or not a Republican who is in tune with your conservative beliefs. So I thought Santorum's opening line almost in that speech was brilliant, if I do say. All right, folks, we're coming back, and you're not going to want to miss this. There is a movie called Honor Diaries, and CARE is saying it's Islamophobic. CARE shut down a screening of it. We're going to talk to somebody who's involved with this. This is outrageous. This is bullying. This is political correctness, and people are succumbing to this bullying and threats, and it's a dangerous situation. Steve Malzberg Show right here on Newsmax Television.
We don't just talk about the news, we talk to those making news. This is the Steve Malzberg Show.